Welcome to this video. Some of you on my website explainingmaths.com asked me to also solve an entire past paper for the core curriculum of IGCSE maths. And that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to solve the entire paper 11, May-June 2015. And before we start, all credit goes to Cambridge Examinations. Because this is their work, these are their questions. We're just here together to help each other to pass these types of exams. Okay, so we're going to do the entire paper together. Before we start, make sure that you have a quick look through all the questions, that you know what to expect. Just take a minute for that. Make sure you have all the proper utensils with you. And also, if an answer is not exact, if your final answer is not exact, you have to give it to 3 significant figures, and when it's an angle, 1 decimal place. Okay, so never forget that. And before we start, I'd like to say once more to go to my website explainingmaths.com, where you'll find all my resources for free, which will help you to pass these types of exams and to, more importantly, to understand and enjoy maths a little bit better and more perhaps. Okay, let's turn the page and go to the first question. So the first question is as follows. There are 31 days in January, and in January the 21st was a Wednesday. What day of the week was February the 8th, 2015? Okay, now there's several ways you can do that. Of course, if you have time, you could draw a little calendar here, 21, 22, 23, up to 31. But you can also realize that from the 21st to the 31st, those are 10 days. And then how many more days in Feb? What did they say? The 8th. So another 8 days. So in total, those are 18 days. All right. Now, hopefully you realize that in a week are 7 days. So these are 2 weeks, 14 days, and 4 days. Yeah. So 18 days is equivalent to 2 weeks and 4 days. So 2 weeks is going to be a Wednesday and a Wednesday plus 4 days. So that is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's going to be Sunday. Now, and I'm sure there are quicker ways to solve this question. But why be quick? We have an hour to finish the paper. So let's just make sure we are correct. Okay. Moving on to the next question. The temperature in Berlin is -7 degrees Celsius. Yeah, it can get quite cold in Germany. Temperature in Istanbul, -3 degrees Celsius. Write down how many degrees colder it is in Berlin compared to Istanbul. Now, this is about directed numbers. A directed number, particular value and a direction, positive or negative. What is the difference in temperature between -7 and -3? The difference is 4. Yeah. You could subtract that if you don't know that. -3 minus -7. So that's -3 plus 7, so the answer is 4. Sydney, we continue, is 23 degrees warmer than Berlin. What is the temperature there? So -7, yeah, so make sure you take the temperature of Berlin, not accidentally of Istanbul. So it's -7 plus 23, and that is 16. Very good. So that's a very nice start of the exam already. Moving on, a mass of 300 kilograms increased by 8%. Work out the increase in mass. So they're not asking what is the final mass, no, just the increase. With other words, what is 8% of 300? So 300 divided by 100% had to go to 1%, and then you times that by 8%. So 300 divided by 100 is 3, and 3 times 8, 24 kilograms. That's the increase, okay? Nelson scores 27 out of 40 in a history test. Well done, Nelson. Work out his score as a percentage. So to compare that as a percentage, those two quantities, you divide them over each other, and then you times it by 100% to get the percentage. And you plug it in your calculator, you get 67.5%. Very nice. Again, I'm Mr. John, explainingmaths.com. Let's go to the next page. So we are now at question 4, and we're doing paper 11, May-June 2015, so the core curriculum. Question 4, the total mass of 38 spoons is 1,824 grams. Work out the mass of 53 spoons. Now, We always want to show working, but especially if it's more than 1 point, it is important to show all working. What can you do? Well, let's find out the mass of 1 spoon. Okay, so if 38 spoons have a mass of 1,824, then 1 spoon has this mass divided by 38. And then to get 53 spoons, at the mass of 53 spoons, we times that by 53. Okay, now you can also do that in 2 steps. Work out this answer, that's the mass of 1 spoon, and then use that answer times 53 equals, and if you do that properly, you get 2,544. Fantastic. Prince Charming, well, I'm sure they're not talking about me now, invests $3,000 for 5 years at a rate of 4% simple interest. Okay, so $3,000 for 5 years, 4%, and it's simple interest. Calculate the total interest he will receive. Okay, so especially when things are written or typed in bold, you should be mentally shouting to yourself, because they're not asking what is the total amount of money he has, no, just the total interest. Okay, simple interest, 4%. So each year he's going to get times 4%. He's going to get 3,000 divided by 100 is 30 times 4. He's going to get $120 each year. That for 5 years, so we'll multiply that by 5. That's going to be 600, isn't it? Yeah, it's 600. So $600 is the interest he receives. Now, if the question would be how much money does he have, then you would have to take this number plus it by 3,000, and you get 3,600. Okay, so read those questions carefully. Using a ruler and a compass only, construct a triangle with sides of 5, 6, and 7 centimeters. And the side of 5 centimeters has already been drawn for you. Okay. Now, I do not have a compass on my tablet, but this is what you need to do, is the following. You cannot just take your ruler and start estimating 6 centimeters and estimating 7 centimeters. No, they deliberately say you have to use a ruler and compass only, and you leave your construction lines. What do? You take your compass and you open your compass. Let me just draw a little compass here. Yeah, so this is your compass, and you open it. This is the needle, that's the little pencil there on the other side, and you open it on 6 centimeters. Let's start with 6 centimeters. So you put your ruler underneath and you measure exactly 6 centimeters. Good. Then you're going to take that needle and you're carefully going to move your compass and put the needle in the vertex of your line on this point, and then you draw a part of the circumference, because all those points, let's say like this, all those points on that arc will be 6 centimeters away from this point. Yeah, do you realize that? Okay. So all those points are 6 centimeters. So it doesn't matter if I would draw the line from here to there, that will be 6 centimeters, or to there, that will be 6 centimeters. Yeah. But the other side needs to be 7 centimeters. So again, I'm going to take my ruler. Now I'm going to open it exactly on 7 centimeters. And I'm going to put the needle in this point, so in the other point. And again, I'm going to draw a part of the circumference. I'll do that in red now. And let's say that goes like this. Yeah, I'm just guessing now. But from this point anywhere to the circumference there, to that arc, it's going to be 7 centimeters. And you're interested in that point of intersection, because at this point exactly, it is 6 centimeters from here and 7 centimeters from there. Now, I am just guessing this, so please, if you construct it properly, you might get a complete different triangle, okay? So this is just an estimation. But that's how you find that point. And of course, you take your ruler. And I don't have a ruler here with me, I do apologize. But you take a ruler and then with your pencil, I should say, and your ruler, you draw accurately, the triangle. Okay, so let me just say once more, this is just an estimation. I just showed you how to construct that point of intersection. Your triangle might look very different compared to this one. Let's turn the page and go to the next question. So we're going to look at some language. I'm still Mr. John, explainingmaths.com, and we're solving the entire paper 11, May, June 2015. And they give me a box with language, an equilateral triangle, And immediately I tell myself, okay, what is that? An equilateral triangle is a triangle where all sides and all angles are equal. So if you like, it's a regular triangle. Yeah, a regular pentagon. Yes, with 5 regular sides and 5 angles that are the same. Regular hexagon, 6 angles are the same, 6 sides are the same. A square, yeah, which is a regular quadrilateral if you like. 4 sides are the same and 4 angles are the same. A parallelogram, okay, now that is a special type of quadrilateral, and a circle. Okay, so we have all these regular polygons and a parallelogram and a circle. From the list, write down the shape which has more than 6 lines of symmetry. Well, a regular triangle has 3 lines of symmetry. A regular quadrilateral has 4 lines of symmetry. A regular pentagon 5. A regular hexagon 6 lines of symmetry. A circle has, if you like, an infinite amount of lines of symmetry. Yeah? So we write down circle over there, the circle. The shape which has both acute and obtuse interior angles. Well, here they're all 90 degrees. Well, here all the angles are the same. These angles are all the same. These angles are all the same. So only the parallelogram is left with angles that can be obtuse and acute, or actually have to be obtuse and acute. Parallelogram, there you go. Moving on, let me slide, there we go. Oh, vectors, interesting. We have the vector A, 3, 5, B, minus 8, 7. Write each of the following as a single vector. Okay, 3A, which means 3 times the vector A. And how do you find that? You multiply that x in the x direction and in the y direction by 3. So it's going to be 9 and 15. There we go. And the second one, A minus B. So vector A, take away a vector B, and then you take away those horizontal vectors from each other. So 3 minus 8. Yeah, so make sure I use my fingers for that, guys, if I do it. Yeah, I literally go with my finger, 3, then to minus 8. So 11, because that means 3 plus 8, and 5 minus 7, which is minus 2. Okay, fantastic. That was it for this page, explainingmaths.com. Let's go to question 9. So some correlation here. The scatter diagram shows the number of sun hats and ice creams sold by a shop each day for 2 weeks. All right. So sun hats and ice creams, 2 weeks. So probably if you count it, you have 14 pieces of information. Okay. Write down the type of correlation shown by the diagram. Now, if you would have to draw some sort of line of best fit, as you can see, it's going up. So there is a positive correlation. Okay, so you can say positive correlation. There we go. Moving on, describe the relationship between the number of hats sold and the number of ice creams sold. Okay, well, if the amount of hats I sell increases, so from 2 to 4 to 6, what happens with the number of ice creams sold? Well, also the number of ice creams sold are increase. So you can say that more ice creams, how do you spell it? Ice creams, sorry guys, I'm Dutch. Ice creams are sold when more sun hats are sold. And that's because, of course, the weather is getting nicer, so more people have to buy a sun hat and more people like to eat an ice cream. Yeah, that's not what you write down. No, you say that the more sun hats you sell, the more ice creams you sell. Okay, simplify. Some law of indices. Please check my website explainingmaths.com, where I explain this in more detail. But you multiply those coefficients, those numbers 6 and 4, so that's 24. And you have u times u, so that's u squared, and w to the power minus 3 times w to the power 6. You add the indices, because the first law of indices, so you have minus 3 plus 6, w to the power 3, minus 3 plus 6. All right, let's go to the next page. So we have arrived now at question 11, and we can see a right angle triangle, and it's not to scale, so do not start measuring these lengths of your ruler if you want to. They asked me to calculate AB, and that's for 2 points. And how can we calculate lengths in right angle triangles? Well, Pythagoras, for instance, but then we need the other two sides. We only have the hypotenuse, so we can't use Pythagoras. But we have an angle, so we can use some trigonometry. And your teacher perhaps said, well, so ka toa, or toa ka so, or whatever riddle you've learned to remember those ratios, okay? So the sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse, the cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, tangent opposite over adjacent, yeah? So standing your angle, they want to know AB, let's put an X there, okay? Standing your angle and identify the lengths. So we have the opposites and we have the hypotenuse. So we're talking about the sine. And please, I keep on saying, check my website, explainingmaths.com. All my resources are for free, and I explain this in a lot more detail. So X over 11.2, there we go. That's a 2. So then we have to rearrange, multiply both sides by 11.2. And please write down all your working. You get points for working. So if you want to pass these exams, show your working. Okay, there we go. So X, now I grab my calculator, 11.2 times the sine of 37 equals. And do yourself that favor to first write down all those decimals. Okay, so do not round already. First we're going to write this down. Then we realize, well, it's not an exact number. They don't specify the accuracy in the question, so 3 significant figures, what I should do as you are told on the cover sheet, so 6.74. Good. Moving on to the next question, write the coordinates of the point where the line y equals 3x plus 5 crosses the y-axis. Okay, so that line looks roughly like this. So we're interested in this point where it crosses the y-axis, because this is the y-axis vertically, x-axis horizontally. Well, what do you know about that point? Well, you know one coordinate already. You know the x-coordinate, because that one will always be 0 when you cross the y-axis. Yeah? The x or the x-coordinate is always 0. So when x is 0, y is going to be, look at the equation now, 3 times 0 is 0, so y is going to be 5. So the y-intercept is 5, the coordinate is 0, 5. Then question B, write down the equation of a line that is parallel to the line y equals 3x plus 5. That's the same line. So parallel, which means, for instance, if I look at my sketch, this line is parallel, yeah, or perhaps that line is parallel. So you have actually an infinite amount of answers or possibilities you can give. However, you need to realize that, what can you say about parallel lines? You can say something about their steepness, because for parallel lines, their steepness, their gradient remains the same. Yeah, and on my website explainingmaths.com I explain that. So the steepness, the gradient being that coefficient of your x, needs to be the same. So as long as you say y equals 3x, yeah, then you're fine. And then you can say, for instance, plus 1. Okay, or you could say y equals 3x. You can just leave it like that. Or you can say y equals 3x minus 7, or whatever. Okay, as long as you don't say plus 5, because that wouldn't be parallel, that would be the exact same line. Okay, but the 3x is important because the 3 is your gradient, and parallel lines have the same gradient. Let's go to the next page. So we have arrived at question 13. We're still solving the entire paper. And check my site explainingmaths.com for more information. For instance, I explain on my website everything you need to know about factoring. Factorize this expression, and the first question you should ask yourself, is there a common factor? And yes, indeed, they have the common factor w. So if I take w and if I put that in front of the brackets, then I'll have 3w minus 2. And then I check again, is there still a common factor in my brackets? No, there isn't. So that is my final answer. You can check your work by expanding it. W times 3w, 3w squared, w times minus 2, minus 2w. So it's correct. Expand and simplify question B for 2 points. So first we expand, which is get rid of those brackets. 2x squared plus 3x plus 5x minus 35. Because you multiply all the terms inside the brackets by the number or the letter in front of it, so times x, and 5 times x, 5 times minus 7. Don't forget that second term, we sometimes do. Simplify means combine the like terms. Now, I only have one term in x squared, so I can already say 2x squared. And then I have, I believe, two terms in x, 3x plus 5x, so that is going to be 8x, so plus 8x, oh, it's still in red, well, I'm sure you understand it, minus 35, good. That was that. 6 donkeys, question 14, are each given 2 5 milliliter spoons of medicine 3 times a day. Whoa, that's a lot of information. I'm going to read that again in a second. Let's continue. Calculate the number of whole days a 2-liter bottle of medicine will last. Okay, hang on a minute. So we have 6 donkeys, and each of them are given 2 5 milliliter spoons of medicine 3 times a day. Now let's just find out how much medicine one donkey is going to use. So 2 of those 5 milliliter spoons, 3 times a day, so times 3. So that is 13 milliliter per day per donkey. But we have 6 of those donkeys, so 6 of those donkeys. So in total, those donkeys need per day 180 milliliter. Then they ask me, okay, so how long will that 2-liter bottle last? And you need to realize that 1 liter is how many milliliter, because we're talking about milliliter here and there a liter. You should realize that's 1,000 milliliter. Milli means 1,000, like millennium or a millimeter, or well, there are 100 other examples you can give. Milli, 1,000. So 180 milliliter. How many full days? So we have a 2-liter bottle, which is then 2,000 milliliter. So I'll do 2,000 divided by 180. Then I can see how many days it's going to last. I press it in my calculator, and it tells me this. So how many whole days, that's the question. How many whole days would it last? If this is my answer, then it should be 11. Good. A cuboid has a volume of 288 centimeter cubed. Now, before I move on, I always like just to very quickly sketch a cuboid. There we go. So it's not a cube, it's a cuboid. 3D rectangle, if you like. The volume 288. There we go. The cuboid has a length of 12, a width of 5. So let's say that is 12 and that is 5. Calculate the height. So what is the height? Well, you should realize that length times width times the height gives you the volume, which is 288. So 12 times 5 times the height is 288. 12 times 5 is 60. Let me continue here. So 60 times the height is 288. So the height, 288 divided by 60. Now I grab my calculator. 288 divided by 60 equals 4.8. 4.8 centimeters. Very good. 1 centimeter cube of the cuboid has a mass of 4 grams. Work out the mass of the cuboid. Well, it has 288 centimeter cube, so you can do 288 times 4, and if you work it out in your calculator, you have 1,152 grams. Fantastic. Let's go to the next page. It says, without using a calculator, work out 1/4/5 divided by 3/7. And you got to show all your working and give your answer as a fraction in its lowest terms. Now, of course, you can always use your calculator to check your final answer, but it's the workings that you're going to get the points for. What do you need to do? Let's turn this mixed number into an improper fraction first. So 1 times 5 plus 4, so that's equal to 9/5 divided by 3/7. And check explainingmaths.com, which is my website, where I explain this, how to do that, and it's all for free, okay? Where I also explain on my website that dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying it by the reciprocal, which means turn it around, okay? So 9/5 times 7/3, and on explainingmaths.com I say then, well, you multiply the numerators with each other and the denominators, so you get 63/15. And of course, if you have to, you can still use a calculator to work that out. 63/15. Put it in your calculator if you like to simplify it, because you have to give your fraction in its lowest term, 63 over 15. So again, put it in your calculator if you like, but 15 fits in 4 times, because that was going to be 6. I'm going to take 4 whole ones out, and then I'll have 3 left, and 3 over 15 simplified, I take out the highest common factor, which is 3, so 4, 1 over 5. But again, simply putting this in your calculator, although they say without using a calculator, but putting this in your calculator, it will simplify it for you. This is the working that your calculator cannot do for you, so you have to show it, okay? Move on, right? 82,600 in standard form. And standard form is a way, come on guys, I want to move up, no, it's not working. Okay, standard form is a way to write very large numbers or very small numbers in a more manageable manner. And you always start with the first number, which is an 8, followed directly by the point, and then the rest of the numbers 2, 6, yeah? You do not look at the zeros. Times 10 then, and then you start counting, because you want to know how many places you've moved the decimal point. It's here now, yeah, so you've moved it 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, so it's times 10 to the power 4. There you go. Please have a look at my website, explainingmaths.com, where I explain that in more detail. Now moving on to the next question, I figured out how to move the page up, because for some reason it was stuck. Okay, so to the next question, question B, calculate this complicated looking question and give your answer in standard form. Now for 2 points, let's calculate the numerator, then the divided by the denominator. So in my calculator now, I have it in front of me, I do 6.02, and then I use the exponent button at the bottom of it, so it says immediately times 10 to the power, and I just put in an 8 equals minus 5 times exponent 6 equals. And let me write down what I get. I get 597, 1, 2, 3, 1, so 6 zeros over there. And all of that I have to divide by 3 times 10 to the power 6. Okay, but I want to write this down because I want to show some working. Now I'm going to divide this by 3 exponent 6 equals, and it tells me 199 is the answer. Okay, but I have to give my answer in standard form. So 1 point. The rest of the numbers 99 times 10 to the power, and I count. The decimal point is here now, and now it's between the 1 and the 9, so that's 2 places, so to the power 2. Solve the equation, question 18. Great for 3 points, so 3 points doesn't mean it's difficult, it just means you are given some time to do it properly. So what are your options? Well, let's divide, you could divide both sides by 5, but let's expand it. I think most of you prefer to expand it, so let's do it like that. It's equally as good. Just make sure you multiply both terms by 5. Then we rearrange. So I will do plus 10 on both sides, so 35 plus 10 is 45. And then let me just show that to you. So plus, in blue please, plus 10 on this side, because we want to get rid of that minus 10. And then I want to get rid of the 15, so I divide both sides by 15, and 45 divided by 15. You can use a calculator for that if you don't know that, but that is 3. Do we have another page? Let's find out. So we're going to have a look at question 19 now together, and it says in this question use a ruler and a compass. Yeah, so those are the tools you need to use to answer the question. And it says shade a region inside rectangle ABCD that is more than 2 centimeters away from AD. So this is AD. And more than 4 centimeters away from B. Okay, so this is about loci. And loci from a line. So it has to fit, by the way, both descriptions. Yeah? So we're going to first construct these loci, and then that one, then we'll start shading. More than 2 centimeters away from AD. So you're going to take your ruler, you're going to do it better than what I'm going to do now on my tablet, but you're going to draw a parallel line exactly 2 centimeters away from AD. So I'm just going to use my ruler and say, okay, that's 2 centimeters away, and on the other side I'm also going to measure 2 centimeters away, and let's say in the middle another 2 centimeters. So yours might look slightly different, yeah, because perhaps my rectangle here is smaller than what it looks like if you actually print out the paper, but this is 2 centimeters away from AD, and it needs to be more than 2 centimeters away. So we're interested in this part, because all these points in this part in the rectangle are more than 2 centimeters away from AD. However, I'm not going to shade yet, because and it has to be more than 4 centimeters away from B. So the loci from a point 4 centimeters. Well, we didn't use our compass yet. So what do you do? Well, I don't have a compass on my tablet, so I'm just going to estimate it. But if this is your compass, yeah, you're going to open it on exactly 4 centimeters. Yeah? So you're going to put your ruler down and you're going to measure 4 centimeters. And then, once you have done that, you're going to draw the arc inside the rectangle. And that's roughly, I'm just going to estimate it now. But okay, there we go. If you do that properly, so you're going to put the needle of your compass in B, and you're going to draw, and that will roughly look like this. That's very bad. I'm just sketching it now. I don't have a compass, yeah, but that is 4 centimeters away all from B. It has to be more than 4 away. So if you shade it then you just shape this part, because this part is more than 2 centimeters away from AD and more than 4 centimeters away from point B. Okay, check my website explainingmaths.com, where I explain loci in a lot of detail, and I'm sure you'll understand. A sequence 2, 3, 6, 11, 18. Write down the next 2 terms in the sequence for 2 points. Well, let's write down the term-to-term rule first, because it's a little bit of an odd one. Plus 1, what's going on? Plus 3. Because if you write this down, you probably now see the pattern. Plus 5, plus 7. Then every time it's plus 1, plus 3, plus 5, plus 7. So it's every time plus the next odd number. Yeah. So 18 plus 9, which is 27. And then the next one is going to be 27 plus 11. So write down that term-to-term rule to avoid any silly or unnecessary mistakes there, yeah, that you don't do plus 9 twice. Now the next one is plus 11, so 27 plus 11, 38. Describing words, the rule for this particular sequence, well, every time you're adding the next odd number, right? So don't just say add odd number, no, add the next odd number, something like that, odd number. Okay. The nth term of a different sequence is given by the expression 4n minus 3. Work out the first 3 terms. So for term 1, it will be 4 times 1 minus 3. For term 2, 4 times 2 minus 3. And for term 3, 4 times 3 minus 3. So that is 1, 8 minus 3 is 5, and 12 minus 3 is 9. 1, 5, 9. Very nice. Let's go to the next page and see what they're asking us there. Okay, we have to write 30 as a product of its prime factors. Several ways to approach this. What I always like to do is to divide it by the lowest prime, so 2, and then I get 15 there, yeah, because 2 is the lowest prime number and also the only even prime number. 15, I cannot divide it by 2, but I can divide it by the next lowest prime number, which is a 3, and then the other factor is a 5, which is also a prime. So 30 is 2 times 3 times 5. That's the product of its prime factors. These are all prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, and you can check that. 2 times 3, 6 times 5 is 30. Find the lowest common multiple of 30 and 45. So multiple meaning, the timetable, if you like. And I always tell my students, just write down a couple of those multiples. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. Yeah, so that is 1 times 30, 2 times 30, 3, 4, 5 times 30, 6 times 30. I'm going to do the same for 45. And then I want to see some sort of common multiple. So 45, 90, 135. And I can stop already because I see that the lowest multiple they have in common, so the lowest common multiple is 90. So that is going to be the answer. There we go. 2 points. Very nice. Question 22. It must be similarity. Yeah? What did they say? Triangle ABC is similar to DEF. Okay, it's important that the order is important. AB, therefore, is similar or corresponds with DE. BC corresponds with EF. check explainingmaths.com, where I explain that with a lot of videos. Calculate the value of x. So what do you do? What do I explain on my website? You say x over its corresponding side, which is 10, equals, and then you find two corresponding lengths you both know the length of. Well, you know 8 and 6, but I started with the smaller triangle here, x over 10, so I'm going to start with the smaller triangle again, 6 over 8, because I tell myself, well, x, it has to be less than 10 anyway. It's going to be less than 10, so any answer here bigger than 10, I've made a silly one. Yeah, so x equals 6 over 8 times 10, and if you put it in your calculator, you're going to get 7.5, and that indeed is less than 10, so that makes complete sense. Then they want me to find y for 2 points, so I'll just do it like this, so I can still see the triangles. So y over its corresponding side, so y over 9 equals, and now I started with the bigger ones. I'm going to start with the big one again, 8 over 6. That means y is 8 over 6 times 9. And I'm telling myself it should be more than 9 anyway, because this is a bigger length than that one. And if you put it in your calculator, you're going to get 12. So if I get anything less than 9, then I made a mistake. So I'm going to check my workings, and I should turn these two values around. Okay? But I say again, go to my website, explainingmaths.com. I explain similarity, and I have loads of videos there for you for free, so you can understand this topic too. And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the entire paper 11, May, June 2015. So I hope it was useful. If it was, like and share this, please, so I can help your friends too. And check my website. I've said it 1,000 times now, so this is 1001. www.explainingmaths.com. All my free resources. You'll find more past papers. You'll find just individual past paper questions. There's a forum. You can ask me your question, and if I have time, I'll help you. So don't worry too much about that. And I wish you a very pleasant day and all the best. And, be confident, believe in yourself, and I'm sure you're going to do fine. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.